All right, let's go ahead and look at solving two-step equations, part one. So if we look at this, we're going to solve, obviously, two-step equations. If I told you to take 2 steps, what would you do? You would take 2 steps, okay? Well, two-step equations means we're going to do 2 steps in order to solve these. So solve two-step equations means that we are going to have to do 2 things in order to solve them, all right? So looking at our first example here, we have 2x plus 3 equals 7, okay? What I do when I'm doing this is I work backwards from my order of operations. So if you look over by Mr. Bowers' door, he has an order of operations listed up there, and it tells you parentheses first, exponents second, multiplication, division third, and then addition and subtraction. When we're undoing things like we're doing in equations, when we're solving, we actually are going to work backwards. So when we work backwards, we're going to actually start with addition and subtraction, then go to multiplication, division, then go to exponents, and then go to parentheses, okay? So first thing here is I'm going to work backwards. I'm going to look for addition and subtraction. And I see addition and subtraction right here. I see a plus 3, okay? So I have a positive 3 here, so what I need to do is get rid of that. How do I do that? How do I undo a positive 3 or plus 3? I subtract a 3. But because it's an equation, I need to keep a balance, all right? And I do it to both sides. I'm going to subtract. How do I know it's both sides? It's because of this equal sign. I know I have to do it on the other side of that equal sign, okay? A positive 3 and a negative 3 or a minus 3 will cancel out because those are opposites, and opposites equal 0. I bring this down, and this will leave me 2x. Over here, I'm going to do 7 minus 3, which is 4. Now it's a pretty basic one-step equation that you learned how to do in 6th and 7th grade. You go ahead and divide by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 1 times x is x. 4 divided by 2 is 2. And so I get an answer of x equals 2. These, it may be a little more important for you to double check your answers by substituting them back in there. So if I put a 2 back into this original equation, so I'm going to put 2, and then I'm going to substitute a 2 in for x. And that's why I'm going to put it in parentheses to show that I'm substituting. Plus 3 equals 7. So I'm going to check to see, does this side equal 7? Well, when I solve it, I would do 2 times 2, which is 4. So now I have 4 plus 3 equals 7. So remember, when I'm solving it, I go the correct order, okay? 4 plus 3 is 7. 7 to 7 equals 7. It certainly does. That lets me know I've done the correct answer. Okay. Let's look at one that's going to cause a lot of people grief. All right. I would put an asterisk next to this one because it's going to be a difficult one. I have 3 minus 5y equals negative 37. Okay. The reason this one's a difficult one is because they see this minus 5y. In most cases, people are going to want to try to add 5. But you have to be careful. This 5 is joined with the y. So this coefficient is joined with this variable. So I can't, this isn't subtracting 5, it's actually subtracting 5y. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go like this. I'm going to write this so as adding a negative. So I'm going to go plus a negative, and I'm going to put that negative in parentheses. So really I'm adding a negative 5y here, okay, which is being multiplied. So really what I need to do is I need to get rid of this 3. And I do not look at this sign for what I'm doing. I actually have to look in front of this 3. So in front of this 3, there is no sign, which means that it's a positive. So what's the opposite of a positive 3? A negative 3. So I'm going to put a minus 3 here, and I'm going to put a minus 3 on the other side of that balance of that equal sign. These cancel out. I now have negative 5y. A negative 37 minus 3 gives me a negative 40, not a negative 34. I get negative 5y equals negative 40. So this is multiplication, so I need to divide by negative 5. I need to divide this side by negative 5. Negative 5 divided by negative 5 is a positive 1. 1 times y is y. A negative divided by a negative is a positive, so 40 divided by 5 is 8. And so I get an answer of y equals 8. All right. Let me show you another one just like that, okay? So that way you can kind of see it. So I'm going to go 2 minus 4y equals 26. Okay? So again, another way to maybe do this one is know that this minus sign is actually joined with the 4y, and those are kind of joined together. So what I need to do is I need to look at this 2, all right, and I need to get rid of the 2. Right now, this is a positive 2 because nothing's in front of it, so I need to get rid of the positive 2 by subtracting 2. And I do that to both sides, and this is where it's going to be difficult because people see this minus and they're going to want to put a plus 2. If I put a plus 2 here, what would 2 plus 2 give me? It would give me 4. I can't get 4. I have to have it be opposites. So the opposite of 2 is minus 2. And so this cancels out because they're opposites. I bring down the minus 4y, or in this case, negative 4y. 26 minus 2 gives me 24. And then I'm going to do the next step. I'm going to try to isolate y, and it's being multiplied right now, so I'm going to go ahead and divide it by negative 4. I divide each side by negative 4 on the equal sign. I get y, because negative 4 divided by negative 4 is 1. 1 times y is y. A positive divided by a negative is a negative. 24 divided by 4 gives me an answer of 6. So I end up with y equals negative 6. Let me double check that just to make sure. I'm going to put 2 in here. I'm going to go minus 4. And then I'm going to put in parentheses a negative 6. And remember, we're multiplying that. And it should equal 26. Okay? So I have 4 times negative 6, which is a negative 24. So I have 2 minus, this is a negative 24, because 4 times negative 6 is negative 24. When I subtract a negative, this is like adding a positive. So really this problem is really saying, hey, it's 2 plus 24. Because 2 negatives mean you're adding a positive. So 2 plus 24 equals 26. Does 26 equal 26? Why, certainly it does. All right. So there you go. Good luck. I know this is difficult, but you can do it.